Hello and welcome back to Green Money Momentum. I'm your host, Trevor, and today we're going to be talking all about the stock DJT, Trump Media and Technology Group. And DJT had a pretty big pop today. The stock right now, as I record intraday, is up 12% and has risen by $2.49. So as I record this video, just about an hour before the market closes, DJT stock is at $22. And what's really positive about this, we've been talking on this channel for a while. The major support levels we've seen in DJT are right around $21 to $27. That's why I have these two lines drawn out here, because in the last year, there's been a lot of elevated volatility in this stock. We've seen this stock go up, all the way to $60 and then drop all the way back down. But with each big drop, we've seen that this level here between $21 and $27 is a major support level in DJT. Recently in this stock, ever since the inauguration, we have seen a downtrend. And so we saw our biggest pop right as Trump was getting elected, or sorry, not elected, right when Trump was getting back into office in the inauguration. But since that moment, there has only been bleeding since, until most recently when we did see the big volatility pops recently. And then with today, DJT has finally broken out of that downtrend and again is now at the major support level right around $21 to $22. And if you've been invested into this stock for a while, you know that this play has a lot of intrinsic value. We have talked about on this channel how DJT is involved in cryptocurrency. They had their big $250 million investment with Charles Schwab. And then also DJT is gaining a lot of intrinsic value when it comes to the streaming platform services. There's been a lot of moves with Truth Social. And so overall, us long-term investors in DJT know that this stock is very valuable. And that's why we have been saying that we are diamond hands in DJT. But if you haven't been following along with DJT, the reason why this stock has been beat up so bad going all the way back to November 8th. So this is all the way back from November 8th. This is when DJT, the president, said himself that there are fake, untrue, and probably illegal rumors and or statements made by perhaps market manipulators or short sellers that I am interested in selling shares of Truth. Those rumors or statements are false. I have no intention of selling. I hereby request that the people who have set off these fake rumors or statements and who may have done in the past be immediately investigated by the appropriate authorities. And so we have been saying on this channel how DJT has been halted and manipulated, and how overall there are a lot of shorts in DJT. Going into the election and then into the inauguration, there was a lot of halting and manipulation. And so starting at the end of September going into October, this stock was again in an oversold spot, just like we were recently in. And then it started to gain a lot of volume and momentum. And so investors were hopping into DJT in anticipation for him getting elected, right? Well, during that time, the stock did have a big crash, but it wasn't just because of the hype and momentum dying or because of the big decision finally being made that he was going to be the president. No, it was because of the halting and manipulation. And so during this time, the stock would be halted many times, multiple times throughout the day. And because of this, it did kill a lot of the momentum in DJT. It did, and overall just caused a lot of damage to the stock. You know that anytime there's halting or manipulation in a play, it does make it harder for that stock to run. You know how frustrating this could be, because you know that your play is a lot more valuable than the markets are showing, but because of short sellers and just because of overall negative sentiment, your play is not being able to run like it should be able to. But that's why on this channel, we have been saying with DJT that we have a long-term plan in this stock. And overall, one second, let me get my props here. We are having diamond hands with DJT over the next 4 years. And so with DJT, I've been playing it two ways. I have a lot of shares that I'm holding for the term of his whole presidency, so over the next 4 years. And I also play with options contracts along the way. And so here on screen, you can see a couple of the options contracts I've been playing with. And with the elevated volatility in DJT and with the recent pops, there's been a lot of opportunities to have that more than 100% gains in this stock. So along the short term, I have been making some short-term cash, but over the long term, I believe in this stock heavily, and I am holding over the next 4 years. But the reason why I bring up the halting and manipulation is because the stock did see a pop off of this news today, and that is that it is finally being addressed. So like we say, this is going all the way back, that original Truth Social post we saw going all the way back to November 8th, but finally it is being dealt with. So Trump Media and Technology Group sent the following memo to the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission. They said suspicious trading activity of DJT stock. So today it was written that potential illegal naked short selling and manipulation of DJT stock. They want the Securities and Exchange Commission to immediately investigate this suspicious trading and report the findings back to TMTG. This is huge because finally the halting and manipulation is being talked about, and maybe we could finally see something change. When that post was originally made in November from Trump, that was when we had the old awful Gary Gensler in office. We actually visited the Securities and Exchange Commission to pay the awful Gary Gensler a visit, but he wasn't there. If you haven't seen that vlog, I definitely recommend watching it. It was a lot of fun, and we went out there when Trump was inaugurated. We did that for the support of the president and then also the stock. So like I say, it has been a long-term journey with this stock, and we are diamond handsing over the next couple of years. And also, I want to say I have been super inactive with this channel for the last week, but that is because I have been super sick. So my body has just went through hell this last week. Pollen season hasn't been the best to me, and I have just been super sick. So my face has been puffed up. I just had all this mucus go from left eye to right eye. My nose has been clogged. My nose has been runny. My eyes have been reacting pretty bad to light. So light sensitivity has been super bad. And because of that, I've just had to take a little bit of a week off of the channel. But I wanted to say to everybody who sent me kind messages or emails wishing me better, I appreciate all of you. I thank you all for the support so much, and I appreciate everybody for being here today. I also want to address, just like I have been saying on this channel, with the Trump tariff situation. We have also talked many times on DJT. We see a lot of intrinsic value with this stock. Of course, we see the intrinsic value behind their big crypto ETF announcements, behind their big announcements with Roku, everything like that. But many investors do just look at this as a meme stock opportunity. And when we do look at the Reddit mentions on DJT, we could see that it is finally going up again. So with the recent elevated volatility and with the recent pops, we have started to see more mentions in DJT. Again, we see the intrinsic value, but for investors who do not, they may look at this as a good opportunity to hop in. And we know when it comes to volume and fear of missing out and just overall frenzy of investors joining, that's sometimes when you could see the biggest pop in your stock. Bring that up also because the tariffs have caused the markets to be under a lot of fear, uncertainty, and doubt. But with each wave of tariffs, we have been saying how they have just been a bigger negotiating tactic to better improve the stance of America, and that is a long-term plan. And so this year we have been facing the three-headed dragon of fear, uncertainty, and doubt, and that is tariffs, inflation, and then also interest rates. If we see any of these factors start to get better, that's when we could start to see the market move more. And if the market does start to move more in a positive direction, that's sometimes where some of the stocks that have the highest volatility are to move significantly with big moves 10, 20, 50% in a day or two. And so with DJT being in that category, that could mean a lot for the stock, especially because this last year, DJT is all that anyone talks about. He has everybody wrapped around his finger. So it's like with the tariffs, he says one thing and then the tariffs get rolled back. The markets freak out and then they soar back. And so if overall this situation with the three-headed dragon of fear, uncertainty, and doubt gets better, we could see the overall markets pop. And with DJT being like the hero to say of this, we could see the stock run up more as well. And talking about interest rates, Trump also wrote on Truth Social today, he said that the ECB is expected to cut interest rates for the 7th time, and yet too late. Jerome Powell of the Fed, who is always too late and wrong, yesterday issued a report which was another and typical complete mess. Oil prices are down, groceries, even eggs are down, and the US is getting rich on tariffs. Too late, should have lowered interest rates like the ECB long ago, but he should certainly lower them now. Powell's termination cannot come fast enough. And so the rising tensions between Trump and Powell continues. We have seen tensions between these two since 2020, and we know the markets this year have had a lot of problems because, again, the three-headed dragon of fear, uncertainty, and doubt, which is interest rates, inflation, and then also tariffs. But the problems in the market really started in December of last year with the interest rates. And that was when Jerome Powell came out and said that the Fed was not going to be cutting 4 times this year, but just 2 instead. And because of that, the markets didn't like that, and a sell-off really started in December. And now looking at the chart that we have seen this last year, that was when the problems really did start. So the markets move heavily off of the interest rates. Having a cut in interest rates could be very stimulative for the economy and the markets. And so Trump, not very happy with Jerome Powell. Neither am I, and neither are a lot of investors. You know, this year, there hasn't really been any good news from the Fed, and he hasn't been, Jerome Powell hasn't been the most positive on tariffs either. And if you're curious what this ECB is expected to cut interest rates, what Trump is talking about there, that is the European Central Bank is cutting interest rates again. And so this was announced today. And so this was done today as they made another 25 basis point interest rate cut, hoping to stimulate the markets more. And so I would love to hear what everyone else has to say about DJT. Again, I apologize for the absence, guys. I appreciate you all so much. I continue to try to make videos for you. I am still coming out of an illness, but with DJT going up today, it was finally nice to be fed some greens, right? So the green candlesticks made me a little bit healthier, helped me make the video today. But overall, guys, I'm just going to continue to try to rest up. I have so many stocks I want to talk about. There's so many exciting opportunities out there. I just need to feel a little bit better. But we are on the road to recovery. And also tomorrow is Good Friday, so the markets will be closed. And this is Easter weekend. So go out there, relax, enjoy the good Thursday that we had. Have a good Friday. Have a good weekend. I will see you guys all soon. Thank you so much, and have a great weekend.